let's briefly chat about why your gut health is so important anyways. Your gut health is the foundation of all health. I actually like to tell my patients, your gut is the gateway to health. That's because it's connected to every single system, organ, and tissue in your body. It runs the show. For example, your gut is oftentimes called your second brain because you have your own nervous system, the enteric nervous system, living inside your gut. Your gut is also connected to your brain by way of a nerve called the vagus nerve. They talk together like a walkie-talkie system. If you can think about a cup with a shoestring on it that you talk to your best friend on the other side, they have this constant communication going on. Did you know that 95% of your serotonin, which would be your feel-good brain chemicals, are produced in your gut? The majority of your dopamine is also produced there, making total sense why we may crave things like cookies or alcohol or other habits that aren't necessarily the healthiest for us, especially when we're in diet mode. Our dopamine and our serotonin are saying, feed us. You actually have over 100 trillion gut bacteria in your body, and your gut bacteria actually outnumber your cells at least a little bit more than that 1-to-1 ratio. And when you think about immunity, the majority of your immune system is also in here. As a kid, I tended towards a lot of strep throats and ear infections. Well, I also tended towards a lot of constipation and IBS, or irregular stools. So it made a lot of sense how a lot of my gut issues showed up as immune issues as a kid. Your immune system is also related to your skin health. Health is an inside job. Explaining why you can throw all the expensive fancy skincare products in the world at your face and they still are not working, at least if we're not addressing the inside. And did you know that your gut bacteria influence your hunger and your cravings? Super tasters, or kids and adults that tend to hate foods like broccoli and Brussels sprouts, actually have a completely different microbiome than those that love vegetables. It's a fact. Your gut bacteria can influence your taste buds. Your gut bacteria also dictate your ghrelin and your leptin levels, which would be your hunger and your fullness hormone, because your gut bacteria are what harvest your energy. They are what break down your food and metabolize your food to either absorb and use those nutrients, or be like the teenage kid that has a hollow leg and that can eat 2 pizzas in one setting and it seemingly not stick to their body. You can eat but not necessarily absorb and digest your food, which can influence your hunger and fullness hormones. Different bacteria also prefer different food sources. So you have certain bacteria that crave more protein-rich foods and other bacteria that crave chocolate. Depending on your tendency and what type of bacteria you have in your unique biome is going to influence what foods you like or don't like. Interestingly, we can actually shift this by our diet as well. So studies show where they take 2 groups of people and they give them either a vegetarian or a carnivorous or omnivorous diet where there's protein present, the microbiome can change in as little as 3 days. So imagine if you've been eating a certain way for, say, a year's time or even a month's time. There's a lot of runway there on what you're going to end up craving and preferring, and also what type of foods you're going to best digest. This is oftentimes why people can go on an elimination diet for a certain time. So say I go on a vegetarian diet, and then when I think about introducing protein back in or meat back in, it may feel like it's sitting like a brick in my stomach. This is because I've diminished my gut bugs to actually digest this. It's not because meat in and of itself is bad, it's because I don't have the biome to digest it. Similarly, a lot of people will go to the other extreme and cut out carbs completely or cut out vegetables completely. Well, what's going to happen when I introduce those vegetables back in? I'm really not going to feel good. A lot of times people tend to go on these diets initially anyways because they don't feel good eating certain foods. But again, that goes back to your biome. What would happen if we would populate your biome with a more diverse crew in there for your digestion and your food tolerances? I know a lot. And your gut bacteria influence your metabolism and your muscle. One of my favorite studies is the Biggest Loser study. They take the contestants from the Biggest Loser reality TV show and they followed them for several years after the 12-week season. Over the course of 12 weeks, people on the Biggest Loser lose a lot of pounds. A lot of dieting happens in that time frame as well as a lot of exercise. Well, what the researchers found after, say, 6 years following that study, these people's metabolisms were still a wreck. Their gut microbiomes had been so altered during that season that consequently their metabolisms were altered as well. Your gut bacteria dictate your metabolism, again, because they are who digest your food and harvest your calories. If we don't have certain bacteria, then it's going to make a big difference in our metabolism. Another cool study is the lean and the fat mouse study. So in this study, researchers took 2 mice and they gave them different bacteria. One mouse got bacteria from a lean twin. One mouse got bacteria from an overweight twin. What do you think happened? Well, the mouse that got the bacteria from the lean twin lost weight, whereas the mouse that got the bacteria from the overweight twin gained weight. No change in diet or exercise at all. Gut bacteria influence your body composition and your metabolism. And why do athletes tend to gain muscle easier, run faster, jump higher? Research shows that their microbiome profile is completely different than us average Joes. So that's your gut in a nutshell. Your gut is the gateway to health, which is why the next 28 days, we're going to focus on optimizing your health from the inside out.